Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here for night 3 of the Survivor 50 Classic Episode Marathon. Tonight we're watching Heroes vs. Villains, Episode 1, titled Slay Everyone, Trust No One. Keeping an eye on Season 50 players Suri, Coach, Colby, and Stephanie. If you like this video, you'll love my same-day recaps of Survivor 50, so consider liking and subscribing, and using my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. This is the most epic entrance in Survivor history, with the players arriving on helicopters. It really feels like they're going to war. We've got 10 of the greatest heroes against 10 of the most notorious villains. Rupert wants to show that the good will win, but Russell says villains are smarter than heroes. It's a proven fact. Proven fact is crazy. Jerry loves that she's been labeled Man-Eater Manthe. Coach tells us this time he'll slay everyone and trust no one. And oop, he said the thing. Colby tells us he's almost a decade older than he was last time and he wants to see if he still got it. Pearl Island's winner Sandra says last time she was mean, this time she's meaner. Suri says she's a gangsta in an Oprah suit, but a nice gangster with a smile. Coach is doing Coachy out the side of the helicopter. Only the real can relate. The helicopters finally land to a big thumbs up from Jeff, with the heroes uniting on the mat first. It's all smiles. In fly the villains, even their helicopter is villainous, blowing sand at the heroes. The music, the vibe, it's so dark. Steph confirms that the villains really are villains. Thank you, Steph. Jeff addresses Russell, who none of these people know. Russell says he could finally play with people who have respect for the game. Jeff reminds Colby that he was so popular that people were naming their kids Colby. He's fired up for the new adventure. Jeff asks if anyone feels they're on the wrong tribe. Sandra throws her hand up first. I wish Jeff would have addressed Sandra for this, but he doesn't. Not like Sandra's opinion's going to be important if it's just Sandra. James and Parvati, fully flirting across the mats. You can't convince me otherwise. Jeff reminds James he was voted out with 2 idols. James thought he could escape this when Eric made his dumb move. Sorry, James. Jeff doesn't forget. Boston Rob shades Colby and the heroes, calling them weak with big egos. They're going straight to their reward challenge. Each tribe will send out 1 pair at a time. They'll find a buried sandbag and fight over the bag to be the first person to get their bag back to the finish mat. The first tribe to 3 points will win Flint. Just Flint. The first matchup is Steph and Suri taking on Parvati and Danielle. Suri bodies Danielle. Jeff calls Suri a linebacker. From the sidelines, Courtney yells, "Break her shoulder." Then Parvati does accidentally break Stephanie's shoulder. The villains get the point, but Steph is unwell. Her shoulder is out. She's still about to deny medical looking at it to avoid getting pulled out of the game, but Steph, are you going to stand like that for 39 days? So they snap her shoulder right back in, and she's good to keep playing. In the next round, JT eventually gets the bag, and Randy can't tackle him. Randy, you really thought you were going to tackle JT? Come on. In the next round, Coach gets on Colby's back and rides Colby down the course. Then Coach drags Colby from behind to the mat, scoring a point for the villains. Tyson tells us Colby should be so embarrassed that he lost to Coach that he should just consider becoming a woman. The next round is Sugar and Candace against Courtney and Sandra. Sandra will kill someone for this bag. She tackles Sugar and undoes Sugar's top, so Sugar just shakes her top off and scores a topless point for heroes, flipping Sandra off. Suri tells us Sandra earned her villain title with that act alone. In the final round, James clears this, winning the reward for the heroes. In the process, Rupert has broken his toe, but he's not letting that toe keep him out of the game. Were these injuries worth Flint? Fire is great and all, but really? The villains get to their camp, where they're given fishing gear. Again, what was the point of breaking your bones in reward when both tribes are getting a good amount of supplies? The tribe mixes and mingles. Russell is trying to whoop the All-Stars and prove he's the best ever. Russell, who currently thinks he just won last season, is doing the exact same strategy as last time, making final twos with the women, starting with Danielle, who's down. Then Parvati, who's also down, even though she knows he's doing this to everyone, but she wants the devil on her side. Russell says he is the Michael Phelps of Survivor. Over on Heroes Beach, they celebrate getting the exact same supplies as the villains, plus Flint. They wash off and count their wounds. Colby is upset that he got beat by Coach in the challenge. Sugar steps up to lead the group in deciding how they'll build their shelter, and they quickly get started working like ants. This chicken just made the worst decision it's ever made, leading its entire family into the Survivor camp. So the tribe comes together to corner the chickens. These chickens are so dumb, they just throw the net on them and catch the entire family. Rupert says, "It's good to be a hero." At night on Villains, they're talking smack about the heroes and the challenge. Coach especially is happy that he frog marched Colby to the mat, calling it fulfilling. Jerry is turned on by Coach. She's fully interested in him and flirting as they lay side by side. Coach is also interested. The next day, the villains all egg Jerry and Coach on to become romantic. Jerry is blushing and blooming. Coach loves the idea of the Black Widow and the Dragon Slayer being a thing. Coach tells Jerry he's gonna take care of her. Back on Heroes, JT and James want to work together, agreeing they don't want a flower power situation, which is a cutesy way to be low-key sexist. Colby tells Candace they need to watch JT and James, and they worry that other players on their tribe have connections. James and Amanda, Tom and Stephanie. They're not sure if Amanda and Suri are friends, which is an oversight. Why would Amanda and Suri not be friends? They are friends. They meet up and agree that they're friends, but want to keep their friendship on the low. Steph and Tom hug and plan to run the game together. Tom wants their alliance to include Colby and JT, but Tom wants his real final two to be JT, making a winner's deal to the end. JT tells us he's done being the good guy. He's going to play the game differently and embrace his dark side. Back on villains, the lack of fire is getting to them. They have no drinkable water, and Rob is annoyed that no one is trying. He says his wife told him to have patience, but Amber, he's trying. Rob wants to make fire. While he's working on it, Randy is heckling him, telling him it's impossible. Randy's negativity is counterproductive. Rob leads the group, including Randy, to make fire with bamboo pretty quickly. Then Randy's there cheering and will probably be the first one to drink the fresh water. Rob tells us since he last played, he's gotten married, had a kid, and learned patience. This moment was big in Boston Rob lore. Coach says he's in awe of Rob. He calls Rob his idol. Russell is so jealous of Rob. Back on Heroes, Rupert is out there with his toe that he broke for no reason. He feels pressured to provide for the group. He shaves all the magnesium off the flint, failing to make fire, and tells JT, "You want to go ahead, but I've been sitting here for a while, and we've had some hellacious piles of magnesium." He walks away, and JT, Steph, and Colby make a blazing fire. Rupert comes back and sarcastically says, "Yay, good for you guys." Back on Villains Beach, the group convinces Rob not to climb up a tree to get coconuts. Rob says he knows someone who's so full of himself, he can get them to do it. So Rob challenges Coach to climb the tree. Coach says Rob is sharpening him like iron sharpens iron, and Coach makes an attempt to scoot up the tree. Sandra says she loves Rob. She likes how he plays and wants to work with him until it's time to cut his throat. Coach gives up on climbing the tree, saying he swallowed his pride and tucked his tail. Night falls on Hero Camp with sad music. Sugar tells us the game is reflecting her life and she needs a protector, saying she then realized there are sexy men, so she makes her move on Colby, announcing that she doesn't want to spoon. She wants to redacted. Colby tells us that she's grabbing his hands and putting them on her, and she's chasing him around camp. This was a weird scene. In the morning, the heroes agree to kill the dumb rooster, but the dumb chickens have laid an entire pile of eggs. Are these not only the most dumb, but the most fertile chickens the show has ever seen? Can't have everything. JT kills the rooster. In brutal fashion, we have to see JT spinning the rooster's head around. This was an awful sight. Players head to their immunity challenge, where teams have to assemble a puzzle boat, paddle out, grab a lit torch, come back, solve a compass puzzle, and then use the pieces of their boat to build a ladder, climb to the top, light their urn on fire. First tribe to finish wins immunity. They get started with the heroes getting to an early lead, putting their boat together first, and working again like little ants. Jeff says the heroes look like they've been paddling together forever. Jeff is also trolling Coach, saying he's using his lifetime of paddling experience in a kayak to lead the villains. The heroes have a huge lead going into their puzzle, with Amanda, Suri, Sugar, and Rupert all hands on the puzzle and panicking. Sandra and Rob take control for the villains and breeze through their puzzle. Rob and Sandra really save the day for the villains as they climb up the ladder and win their first tribal immunity challenge. And winning fire, meaning again, Rupert broke his toe and Steph has a lifelong shoulder injury for literally one day of fire. Sugar is crying because they lost, which Colby calls an emotional breakdown. He says they won't miss much by losing Sugar. Back at camp, the villains are having a great time. I think they only went back to the villains tribe to show Russell and Coach on this seesaw. But back at Heroes Camp, Sugar starts a campaign against Amanda with the goal of splitting up Amanda and James, but no one's listening to her. Everyone's in agreement at this point that Sugar has to go, but Tom says Sugar is a follower. Tom sees Suri as a strategic threat that they should take out instead. Colby tells Tom he's down to take the shot at Suri. They bring this back to Steph and JT. Everyone's down. Candace, Suri, and Amanda are scheming too. They want to break up the other alliance that Tom's starting. Suri really wants Tom or Steph out, zooming in on that duo. She decides to campaign against Stephanie, but Amanda pushes back because Stephanie is good in challenges. They head to Tribal, where Tom, of course, says he's not worried about previous relationships because he's in one. Sugar seems really deflated right from the start of this and doesn't want to answer Jeff's questions. Amanda says she's a loyal ally, which is positive, and James praises Amanda for having the best tribal council answer she's ever had. Then Amanda points out that there are threats in the game who have won, which rattles the winners and becomes a bad tribal answer. Steph says she's voting for the weakest player, so Jeff calls attention to the puzzle making failure in the challenge, reminding Suri and Sugar that they were both in the puzzle. Sugar tries to defend that she shouldn't be voted out for being on the puzzle. So they get to voting, and there's one vote in that thing for Amanda from Sugar. The rest of the votes are for Sugar. So So, by a vote of 9-1, we lose Sugar here. This was always a really sad vote out. I was a Sugar super fan on Gabon, and 17-year-old me came into this episode with her toward the top of my rooting list. She has a fun start to the episode with the topless point scoring, giving her a notable moment, but the rest of the episode saw her being edited, coming on to Colby, and then crying. It becomes more clear when she goes on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, a show that slapped, by the way, and revealed she was going through withdrawals while on the island, which explains a lot of her emotions. Also saying that JT cheated on his girlfriend with her before they went out there, and accused JT of voting her out to sweep his dirt under the rug. And she'd later say in interviews that the show played up the story of she and Colby to give us a fake reason why she was voted out. We'll never know the whole truth, but justice for Sugar. And of all the episodes from Heroes vs. Villains, it's weird that they choose this one for us to watch instead of episode 2, which I think informs the story of the season 50 players more. But let's talk about the season 50 players and consider why we're being shown this episode. Lots of Coach content here. Silly Coach, the comedian, a big change from Coach, the delusional nut. He's having a sense of humor about himself and bonding with Boston Rob, which will transition into the next Coach we see tomorrow night. For the heroes, we have Steph reminding us that she and Tom are tight, which may make us want to go back and rewatch Palau. And she hurts her shoulder, an injury that still affects her to this day. That will probably come up this season. Pretty quiet episode for Suri, but we saw Steph and Suri targeting each other, the start of their years-long history of brush-ups on reality TV, and a weird Colby episode where we get him saying he wants to get his groove back and then getting frog marched by Coach in the challenge. I do hope Coach will frog march Colby again on 50. It's what we deserve. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. We can also have some discussion about Heroes vs. Villains. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back tomorrow night where we're going to the finale of South Pacific, the end of the Coach trilogy. Until then, you know where to find me. Bye.